The Galactic Empire spanned thousands of star systems, its power unrivaled and its arrogance boundless. For centuries, it had expanded through intimidation, conquest, and diplomacy under the guise of unity. Each new species it encountered was either assimilated or eradicated, depending on its usefulness. The galaxy lived in fear, its inhabitants resigned to the idea that no one could challenge the Empire's might. Amid this vast interstellar dominion, Earth remained a curious anomaly. Humanity was a relatively new entrant to the galactic stage, having only recently mastered faster-than-light travel. The Empire dismissed humans as a minor species, their homeworld an unremarkable planet on the fringes of galactic maps. Yet there was something about humanity that made even the Empire's analysts uneasy. The species was young, unpredictable, and uniquely tenacious. While most civilizations required millennia to unify and industrialize, humanity had done so in mere centuries, surviving countless self-inflicted crises along the way. The first wave of Earth signals had intrigued the Empire. Music, stories, and history radiated into the void, painting a picture of a species capable of both profound beauty and horrific destruction. It was humanity's art of war, however, that caught the Empire's attention. Despite their limited reach, humans had an unsettling mastery of conflict, their strategies ruthless, their victories hard-fought. The Empire's High Council decided it was time to investigate this upstart species more closely. An Imperial envoy arrived in Earth's orbit, its ship a gleaming symbol of the Empire's power. The crew marveled at the sight of Earth, a planet teeming with life. They saw bustling cities, sprawling oceans, and orbital stations that spoke of rapid technological development. To the envoy, it seemed laughable that such a small, fragile world could pose any threat. Yet, as they descended, they found no chaos or panic. Earth was prepared for them. The United Terran Alliance, Earth's newly formed governing body, greeted the envoy with surprising confidence. Representatives stood in immaculate uniforms, their expressions neutral but watchful. The Empire's ambassador delivered a rehearsed speech, offering humanity a place within the Empire, a position of servitude disguised as partnership. The response from the UTA was polite but firm. Earth would not bow to any foreign power. Behind the carefully chosen words, there was a current of defiance that the Empire had not anticipated. The Terran representatives spoke with an unsettling calm, their warnings clear but subtle. "We've studied your history," one of them said. "We understand the pattern. But Earth is different. We won't go quietly." The envoy dismissed this as posturing. Every species resisted at first, but all eventually yielded. The ambassador relayed Earth's refusal to the Imperial High Council, describing humanity as arrogant and naive. The Council, equally dismissive, decided a small show of force would be sufficient to bring the upstart species to heel. As an Imperial fleet assembled near Earth's sector, humanity began preparing for what they knew was coming. For years, Earth had monitored the galaxy, quietly studying the Empire's tactics and technology. Humanity had learned from the mistakes of other species, pouring resources into defensive and offensive capabilities while remaining outwardly unthreatening. The UTA coordinated with Earth's brightest minds, ensuring that when the time came, humanity would not face the Empire unprepared. Tensions escalated as the Imperial fleet entered the Sol system, their ships bristling with weapons. They broadcast a message demanding Earth's unconditional surrender, promising swift retribution if their demands were not met. The UTA responded with the same calm defiance, their reply simple: "Do not F***CK with Earth." This blunt warning rippled through the galaxy, baffling the Empire and amusing species under its rule. To some, it was the bravado of a doomed people. To others, it was the rallying cry of a species that had no intention of going down without a fight. Humanity's message carried an unspoken promise: if the Empire dared to test Earth, it would regret it. The Empire's initial plan was to deploy a small fleet to make an example of humanity. It was a routine operation, one that had been carried out countless times before. However, as the Imperial ships approached Earth, they began to notice anomalies. Human satellites seemed mundane at first glance but were far more sophisticated than anticipated. Orbital defense platforms were cloaked, their positions only revealed when they began targeting Imperial ships. The Empire's arrogance had blinded them to humanity's true capabilities. What they had dismissed as a primitive world was, in reality, a fortress hidden in plain sight. As the fleet prepared to initiate an orbital bombardment, Earth's defenses activated. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through the void, destroying Imperial ships before they could react. What should have been a swift victory for the Empire turned into a catastrophic loss. Survivors fled, their ships limping back to Imperial space. They carried with them reports of Earth's unexpected technological prowess and unyielding resistance. The High Council was furious, their pride wounded. Humanity's warning echoed in their minds. Do not F***CK with Earth. The Empire began to reassess its approach. This was no ordinary rebellion. Humanity was not just defying them, it was daring to stand as an equal. The stage was set for a conflict that would shake the galaxy, and the Empire, for the first time in centuries, faced an enemy it could not afford to underestimate. The Imperial fleet's arrival in Earth's orbit was swift and dramatic, a spectacle designed to intimidate. Dozens of colossal starships, bristling with advanced weaponry, cast shadows over Earth's skies. The fleet transmitted a message to Earth's leadership, demanding immediate surrender. The tone was one of absolute authority, offering terms that left no room for negotiation. Humanity would either become a vassal species or face annihilation. It was the Empire's standard playbook, one that had subdued countless civilizations before. Earth's response was prompt and unexpected. The United Terran Alliance's transmission was calm, measured, and yet uncompromising. They reminded the Empire that humanity had warned them. The message was direct. Do not F***CK with Earth. The Empire interpreted this as typical insolence from a species that didn't understand the power arrayed against it. Confidence in their overwhelming technological superiority blinded them to the gravity of the warning. Imperial ships moved into position, targeting Earth's colonies on the Moon and Mars to demonstrate their might. The plan was to destroy key installations, cripple humanity's infrastructure, and force a surrender through fear. However, as the fleet began its assault, they were met with resistance that far exceeded their expectations. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for years, and it showed. As the first Imperial ship launched an attack, Earth's orbital defenses sprang to life. Cloaked platforms, previously undetected, fired precision energy beams and kinetic projectiles that tore through the Imperial fleet's ranks. It was clear that humanity's weaponry, though outwardly crude, was designed with deadly efficiency. The Empire's ships were built for show and overwhelming force, but humanity's defenses exploited every weakness in their design. The fleet attempted to regroup, but Earth's counterattack was relentless. Swarms of drones, equipped with cutting-edge AI, emerged from hidden bases and attacked with surgical precision. The Empire had never encountered such unorthodox tactics. While most species relied on overwhelming numbers or direct confrontation, humanity's approach was strategic, adaptable, and devastatingly effective. On the ground, the situation was no different. As the Empire deployed ground forces to capture key sites, they encountered a level of resistance that defied their projections. Human soldiers, equipped with advanced exosuits and supported by autonomous units, repelled the invaders with brutal efficiency. The Empire's forces, accustomed to easy victories, found themselves outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. Despite their losses, the Imperial fleet refused to retreat. Their pride demanded a decisive victory, no matter the cost. They doubled down, launching a massive assault on Earth's primary orbital defense stations. But humanity had anticipated such a move. As the Imperial ships converged, they were ambushed by Earth's most advanced weapon, a prototype energy weapon capable of disabling entire fleets. In a single, devastating attack, the Empire lost its flagship and several of its largest vessels. The survivors, stunned and demoralized, retreated to the edge of the Sol system. For the first time in centuries, an Imperial fleet had been decisively defeated. The loss was not just a military failure, it was a humiliation that sent shockwaves through the Empire's ranks. Reports of humanity's ingenuity and resilience spread rapidly, painting a picture of a species that was not only capable of resisting but of winning. The Empire's High Council convened in a state of disbelief. They had underestimated humanity, and the consequences were dire. While some members called for an immediate escalation, others argued for caution. Humanity's actions had shown that they were not a mere nuisance but a genuine threat. The decision was made to send a larger force, one capable of overwhelming Earth's defenses completely. Meanwhile, on Earth, the mood was a mix of triumph and grim determination. The victory was celebrated, but humanity's leaders knew the Empire would not let this defeat go unanswered. Preparations intensified as humanity mobilized its full resources. Factories worked around the clock to produce more weapons and ships. Engineers pushed the limits of technology, creating new tools to counter the Empire's inevitable retaliation. Humanity's ability to adapt and innovate was its greatest strength. Every encounter with the Empire provided valuable data, which was quickly analyzed and used to improve defenses. Even as the Empire licked its wounds, humanity grew stronger, its resolve unshaken. The message to the galaxy was clear: Earth would not be conquered. The retreating Imperial fleet transmitted garbled reports of Earth's capabilities back to the High Council. These reports were met with a mix of outrage and denial. Some commanders accused the fleet of incompetence, unable to accept that a single planet could defeat them. Others, however, began to see the truth: humanity was unlike any species they had encountered before. As the Empire prepared for its next move, the galaxy watched with growing interest. Stories of Earth's defiance spread rapidly, reaching the ears of species long subjugated by the Empire. For the first time in centuries, there was hope. If a single planet could stand against the Empire, perhaps others could too. Rebellion began to stir on distant worlds, emboldened by humanity's example. The Empire, however, was not ready to relinquish its dominance. Plans were drawn for a massive invasion, one that would leave no room for resistance. The High Council authorized the deployment of its largest fleet, a show of force that would crush humanity and restore order to the galaxy. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of not only Earth but the entire galactic order. Humanity, undaunted, continued to prepare. Their victory had proven one thing: the Empire could be defeated. The question was no longer whether Earth could survive, but how far humanity was willing to go to ensure its freedom. The war was far from over, but the balance of power had shifted. Humanity had sent its message loud and clear: Earth was not a victim, and anyone who underestimated them would pay the price. The aftermath of Earth's decisive victory against the First Imperial Fleet created ripples throughout the galaxy. For the Empire, it was an unprecedented blow, a stark reminder that their dominance was not absolute. For humanity, it was a signal that the fight was far from over. Preparations intensified across every corner of the Sol system. Factories operated at full capacity, producing advanced weaponry, ships, and automated units. Humanity's leaders understood that the Empire would not allow such defiance to go unpunished. Earth's researchers and engineers worked tirelessly, analyzing captured Imperial technology to identify vulnerabilities and develop countermeasures. The insights gained from the first conflict were invaluable. Human ingenuity turned Imperial arrogance into an asset. Every misstep by the Empire provided humanity with an opportunity to refine its strategy. Advancements in energy shielding, adaptive AI, and propulsion systems were made in record time, fueled by the urgency of survival. The United Terran Alliance coordinated with Earth's colonies and allied species who had quietly offered their support. These species, long oppressed by the Empire, saw humanity as a beacon of hope. Though they could not yet openly rebel, they provided intelligence, resources, and covert aid. Humanity welcomed their assistance, but Earth's leadership made it clear: the burden of this fight rested squarely on humanity's shoulders. Meanwhile, the Empire regrouped. The High Council, reeling from the humiliation of their initial defeat, authorized a full-scale invasion. They would not make the same mistake twice. The fleet assembled for this purpose dwarfed the previous one, boasting the Empire's most advanced ships and weaponry. Their plan was straightforward: overwhelm Earth with sheer force, crush its defenses, and extinguish any possibility of rebellion spreading. As the Imperial fleet began its approach, humanity's strategy shifted. Direct confrontation was no longer viable against such overwhelming numbers. Instead, Earth's forces adopted a strategy of disruption and attrition. They deployed stealth ships equipped with advanced cloaking technology to strike at the Empire's supply lines and staging areas. These attacks, though small in scale, created chaos within the Empire's ranks. Supply convoys were ambushed, fuel depots destroyed, and critical communications intercepted. The Empire's march toward Earth slowed as it struggled to maintain cohesion. Earth's allies within the Empire's territories also began to act. Sabotage, espionage, and small uprisings erupted across several systems, diverting the Empire's attention and resources. Though these actions were minor compared to humanity's direct efforts, they further undermined the Empire's ability to focus on the invasion. Humanity's defiance was no longer an isolated incident. It was becoming a catalyst for widespread unrest. As the Imperial fleet neared the Sol system, Earth's defenses entered their final stage of preparation. Orbital platforms were reinforced, ground-based weaponry calibrated, and fleets strategically positioned to exploit the Empire's likely approach routes. Humanity's military leadership, composed of brilliant tacticians and AI advisors, devised a series of layered defenses designed to bleed the Empire dry before they could even reach Earth's surface. The first stage of the defense was psychological. Humanity broadcasted messages throughout the galaxy, highlighting their victories and exposing the Empire's losses. These messages were designed not only to demoralize the Empire's forces but also to inspire resistance among its subjects. The Empire, which relied heavily on its image of invincibility, found itself struggling to contain the spread of dissent. When the Imperial fleet finally entered the Sol system, they were met with a barrage of electronic warfare. Earth's hackers, using AI-assisted tools, disrupted the Empire's communication networks, sowing confusion among their ranks. Ships lost contact with each other, orders were delayed, and critical systems malfunctioned. This digital onslaught was followed by a series of precision strikes against the fleet's outer perimeter. Human ships, smaller and more agile than their Imperial counterparts, darted in and out of combat zones, inflicting damage before retreating to safety. The Empire responded by consolidating its forces and pushing forward with brute force. They believed that Earth's defenses, though formidable, could not withstand a sustained assault. What they failed to anticipate was humanity's mastery of asymmetric warfare. As the fleet advanced, they encountered minefields, automated turrets, and decoy ships that drew their fire away from critical targets. Every step closer to Earth was paid for in blood and resources. On Earth's surface, preparations for a potential ground invasion reached their peak. Civilians were evacuated to underground shelters, while soldiers and defense units took up positions in fortified zones. Humanity's ground forces, equipped with cutting-edge technology and bolstered by autonomous units, were ready for a fight that they hoped would never come. Every strategy, every contingency had been considered. Earth would not fall easily. As the battle raged on, the Empire's losses mounted. Their fleet, though vast, was ill-suited for the kind of relentless, decentralized resistance that humanity excelled at. The rigid hierarchy of the Imperial military left little room for adaptation, whereas humanity's forces thrived on creativity and improvisation. The longer the conflict dragged on, the more the Empire's initial advantage eroded. Reports of humanity's successes continued to spread throughout the galaxy, emboldening resistance movements on occupied worlds. The Empire found itself fighting not just humanity, but the very image of defiance that Earth represented. For the first time in centuries, the Empire was forced to question its own invulnerability. Despite their setbacks, the Empire pressed on. They believed that victory was still within their grasp, that humanity's resilience could only last so long. But Earth's leaders understood something the Empire did not. Humanity's strength did not come from technology or strategy alone. It came from an unyielding will to survive and a refusal to submit. As the Imperial fleet pushed deeper into the Sol system, it became clear that the conflict was far from over. The Empire, though battered, remained a formidable force. Humanity, though resourceful, was stretched thin. Both sides prepared for the next phase of the battle, knowing that the outcome would shape the future of the galaxy. In the face of overwhelming odds, humanity stood firm. Their message to the Empire remained unchanged: Earth would not be conquered. This was more than a fight for survival. It was a fight for freedom, for dignity, and for the right to exist on their own terms. The war had escalated, but humanity's resolve burned brighter than ever. The Imperial fleet reached Earth's doorstep, its sheer size and firepower dwarfing anything humanity had faced before. This was the culmination of the Empire's retaliation, a demonstration of force meant to erase the stain of previous failures and reassert dominance. The Empire's High Council had spared no expense, deploying their most advanced warships, elite troops, and experimental weaponry. Victory, in their minds, was inevitable. Humanity, however, was ready. The lessons of every skirmish, every encounter, had been distilled into strategies designed for this moment. Earth's defenses were now a seamless integration of human ingenuity and captured Imperial technology. Where the Empire relied on overwhelming strength, humanity relied on adaptability, precision, and an uncanny ability to exploit weaknesses. This was not a desperate stand, it was a calculated resistance. As the Imperial fleet advanced, humanity executed its first major countermeasure. Using warp-capable drones and cloaked frigates, they targeted the Empire's supply chain and critical support ships, crippling logistics mid-battle. Starships carrying fuel and munitions were destroyed with surgical precision, leaving the larger warships stranded and vulnerable. The Empire's rigid structure, designed for large-scale domination, struggled to adapt to humanity's fluid and unpredictable tactics. In orbit around Earth, the fighting escalated. Massive space battles unfolded, with human ships leveraging advanced maneuvering and coordinated AI systems to outmatch larger Imperial vessels. Orbital defense platforms delivered devastating volleys, forcing the Empire to expend valuable resources just to stay in the fight. What the Empire expected to be a swift conquest turned into a prolonged, grinding war of attrition. Humanity's forces, though outnumbered, refused to yield ground. Every lost ship, every destroyed station, was countered by an equal or greater loss inflicted on the Empire. The cost of the invasion grew exponentially, and for the first time, cracks began to show in the Empire's resolve. Officers who had never known defeat faced mutinous crews, morale plummeting as Earth's unrelenting resistance shattered their confidence. The turning point came when humanity revealed its most ambitious project, an experimental warp-based energy weapon. This device, developed in secret, harnessed the destructive potential of gravitational fields to incapacitate entire fleets. When deployed, the weapon's effects were immediate and catastrophic. Dozens of Imperial ships were rendered inoperable, their systems fried by gravitational distortions. The Empire's commanders, stunned by this new threat, scrambled to regroup. Earth's forces capitalized on the chaos, launching a coordinated assault on the Empire's flagship and its command structure. Human operatives, supported by AI-driven infiltration units, boarded the flagship and disabled its core systems. In a symbolic victory, the Empire's most powerful ship was captured, its admiral forced to surrender. The psychological impact of this defeat rippled through the Empire's remaining forces. Meanwhile, resistance movements across the galaxy erupted into full-blown rebellions. Inspired by Earth's defiance, oppressed species rose up against their Imperial overlords, further stretching the Empire's resources. Formerly silent allies began to provide open support, sending reinforcements and supplies to Earth. The galaxy, once dominated by the Empire's iron grip, was now a patchwork of insurrections and chaos. The Empire, now desperate, attempted one final gambit, a direct assault on Earth's surface. Believing that humanity's resolve could be broken by targeting civilian populations, they deployed their remaining ground forces in a massive invasion. What they encountered was a planetary defense system designed to turn the entire planet into a battlefield. Cities became fortresses, rural areas were transformed into ambush zones, and every inch of Earth's surface was prepared for resistance. Human soldiers, equipped with advanced exosuits and supported by autonomous units, engaged the Imperial ground forces with unmatched ferocity. Civilian militias, trained and armed in preparation for this moment, joined the fight. Every street, every field, every building became a contested zone. The Empire's troops, trained for swift occupation, found themselves bogged down in a grueling conflict that they were unprepared for. The final blow came not from Earth's defenses but from within the Empire itself. As news of humanity's victories spread, discontent within the Empire's own ranks reached a breaking point. Several key fleets defected, their commanders unwilling to continue fighting a war they no longer believed in. Rebellion spread to the Empire's core worlds, threatening to tear the once mighty civilization apart. Faced with mounting losses, internal rebellion, and the collapse of their authority, the Empire's High Council had no choice but to negotiate. They sent a delegation to Earth under a flag of truce, seeking terms to end the conflict. Humanity, victorious but weary, agreed to talks on the condition that the Empire recognize Earth's sovereignty and withdraw from all occupied territories. The peace treaty that followed was unprecedented. The Empire, for the first time in its history, acknowledged defeat. Earth emerged not only as an independent power but as a symbol of hope for countless species across the galaxy. The war had reshaped the galactic order, and humanity was at its center. As the Empire retreated, the galaxy began to rebuild. Formerly oppressed species formed alliances with Earth, creating a new coalition dedicated to resisting tyranny. Humanity, though wary of its newfound influence, embraced its role as a protector of freedom and self-determination. The scars of war remained, but the future was one of possibility. Earth's leaders reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. What began as a fight for survival had become something much greater. Humanity had proven that even the most insurmountable odds could be overcome with resilience, ingenuity, and unity. Their message to the galaxy remained clear: Earth would not bow, and those who underestimated humanity would do so at their peril. The Empire, though weakened, still existed. Its remnants retreated to distant sectors, nursing their wounds and plotting their eventual return to power. But the galaxy had changed irrevocably. The myth of the Empire's invincibility was shattered, and the seeds of rebellion it had sown would not be easily quelled.